Catch up via Global Player, where you can also rewind live radio. At 1 o'clock, it's the wonderful Clive Bull. And now, here is Nick Abbot.
Daniel, the world is registering record heat everywhere but here. It hardly seems fair that while we, the world's first industrialised nation, should have contributed so much to global warming, we're not actually getting any of it round where we live. That might be why we're so obsessed with denying there is a problem and labelling anyone who says otherwise woke, or some such asinine thing. In other less hot news, while us poor dopes who pay taxes struggle to make enough to put a deposit down on a pack of butter, a man whose hat is so heavy with diamonds it's got its own gravitational force is getting a £45 million pay rise. We're all in it together. It's just that some have more of it than others.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. From Global's newsroom at 10 o'clock, thousands of holidaymakers on the Greek island of Rhodes are being forced to leave their hotels because of wildfires. The authorities there say 4 locations are affected, including 2 coastal resorts. The local fire service says more than 200 firefighters are tackling the flames and smoke, helped by 3 planes and 5 helicopters. British tourist James Hall is there and had to leave his hotel this morning.
We dragged our suitcases for 2 hours in 40 degrees heat. We ended up on the top of the hill. We checked back and there's just a complete inferno behind us. So that was quite alarming. We're just currently here, just making sure that the flame isn't on the horizon. And if it is, we're going to make a run for it.
The airlines, EasyJet and TUI, say they are still operating flights to the island as normal. British Airways, though, says anyone due to travel out from the UK in the next week can change their flight to a later date. Ioannis Artopios is from the Greek Fire Service and says they're doing all they can.
The evacuation of all hotels was carried out without problems to safe places, and it's estimated that more than 2,000 people have been rescued by sea.
In Serbia, local media are saying 3 people have died during the second storm to hit the Balkans this week. A 12-year-old boy, a man removing electricity cables, and a woman were killed as strong winds tore down trees and removed power lines and also rooftops. 4 climate activists have been arrested after chaining themselves to an old washing machine outside an oil refinery in Grangemouth. More than 30 have been arrested this week during various demonstrations. A festival in Malaysia has been cancelled after the British band, the 1975, protested against the country's LGBTQ plus laws on stage. Lead singer Matt Healy made a speech about homosexuality, which is illegal there, and also kissed a male bandmate. Malaysia's communications minister has called the performance in Kuala Lumpur very disrespectful. The LGBTQ plus commentator Matt Kane says Healy's actions have highlighted an issue.
He's a hero because he has started a conversation, but we do need to listen to what the LGBT groups are saying on the ground, and what we need to do now is empower them to make change.
And in sport, England have scraped through their opening match at the World Cup in Brisbane. The Lionesses beat Haiti 1-0, thanks to a retaken penalty scored by Georgia Stanway. LBC weather, heavy rain across most parts of the UK, except for northern Scotland, and windy as well in southern England and also in Wales, with an overnight low of 14 degrees. From Global's newsroom for LBC, I'm Tim Daly. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello there. Very nice to meet you.
Yeah. A series of climate records on temperature, ocean heat and Antarctic sea ice have alarmed some scientists who say their speed and timing is unprecedented. Oh, no, it isn't, says some numpty who's done his own research on Facebook. Scientists already fear some worst-case scenarios are unfolding. I'm not aware of a similar period when all parts of the climate system were in record-breaking or abnormal territory, said Thomas Smith, an environmental geographer at the London School of Economics. But hey, what does an environmental geographer at the London School of Economics know about environmental geography? He said the Earth is in uncharted territory. due to global warming from burning fossil fuels, as well as the heat from the first El Niño, a warming natural weather system, which needs to be taken care of. Anybody tried shooting it yet? Here are the 4 climate records broken so far this summer. The world experienced its hottest day ever recorded in July. Not here. It broke the global average temperature record set in 2016. The average global temperature in June this year was 1.47 degrees centigrade above the typical June in the pre-industrial period. The average global ocean temperature smashed records for May, June and July, and it's approaching the highest sea surface temperature ever recorded, which was also in 2016. And the area covered by sea ice in the Antarctic is at record lows for July. This is an area about 10 times the size of the UK of ice that is missing, compared with the average between 1981 and 2010. But, nothing to worry about, except that it might deprive you of food. Do you like food? Successive heat waves threaten nature's ability to provide us with food, say researchers, which is okay if you're not that bothered about eating. Researchers warn of unseen, silent dying in our oceans amid record temperatures scorching the earth. Heat waves ripping through Europe, not here. Thank goodness we've left the European Union. Proper British patriotic summers is what we've got here. We don't mind a bit of drizzle and cloud, even if it does feel like October in the middle of July. It's British weather we've got here. Researchers warn of an unseen silent dying in our oceans. Heat waves ripping through Europe, the US and China. With the global hottest day ever recorded at the start of July, this month here. Blooming freezing outside. Hands up anybody who has thought, even fleetingly, about putting the heating on. Yeah, me too. Said John Marsham, Professor of Atmospheric Science at the University of Leeds, there are growing risks of simultaneous major crop losses in different regions in the world, which will really affect food availability and prices.
Oh, no.
Not prices. Or availability. But, he's just a professor of atmospheric science at the University of Leeds. What does he know compared to some chump who's done his own research by believing the first thing he saw on his Facebook feed? He said, as a human being, if you're wealthy enough, you can get inside and put the air conditioning on. But natural ecosystems and farmed ecosystems can't do that. Yeah. You ain't got no air conditioning on a farm. The European heatwave of 2018 led to multiple crop failures and a loss of yield of up to 50% in Central and Northern Europe. Blimey, I didn't know that. 50%. In 2022, record temperatures in the UK killed fruit and vegetables on the vine.
Booze.
Very serious. And heat waves are expected to become 12 times more frequent by 2040. Whenever that is. One heat wave might not kill an ecosystem, but longer and more frequent events will mean that nature does not have time to recover. And nature is where we get all of our food. So, we're going to find food becomes ever more unaffordable. Many foods will be impossible to find. Whole countries will discover that they can't live where they've been living, and so will be on the move to where it's less hot. And guess where that is? Round these parts, if this summer is anything to go by. But, at least there won't be any orange confetti to ruin a wedding or some slow marchers making you a few minutes late for work. John Marsham, Professor of Atmospheric Science out of the University of Leeds, said, people are generally isolated from the effects of the weather. We go to shops to buy food. We don't grow it ourselves. But if you talk to farmers anywhere in the world, they are extremely aware of what the weather is doing and the impacts on their farming. Some of the most vulnerable ecosystems are the ones which have to have stable temperature year-round, like tropical oceans. A warming of 2 degrees centigrade is expected to essentially wipe out tropical coral reefs, typically. They have the highest biodiversity of any ecosystem globally, which probably makes them woke. If I hear the word woke one more time, I'm going to scream. Some of the most vulnerable ecosystems are coral reefs. They have the highest biodiversity of any ecosystem globally and support more than 500 million people worldwide, most of them in poor countries. Unless we act fast, says this professor of atmospheric science, those systems are going to disappear. So they're going to disappear because we appear to be ideologically opposed to acting fast. Acting fast is lefty or activist or zealotry or some other stupid thing that the press would label anybody that's seen in orange in public. A message, by the way, that has not come out of nowhere. It's been drilled into the media and the people that just spout it endlessly by the fossil fuel industry, who cannot conceive of giving up a single solitary penny in short-term profits for the long-term survival of the planet and everything on it. It's all about the money, honey. And to hell with everything else. Never mind, eh? Texts and tweets and messages from last night. Marty says, Fishy isn't doing the job for money, it's a hobby. He doesn't need to work, so whatever he does just fills his time. It's all like a game for a few years. There are no repercussions. Even Liz Truss gets a legacy for being rubbish.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Whatever happened to Liz Truss? Anybody interested?
No.
Me neither. Good grief. Roxanne texts, PM Sunak enjoys having entertaining prime ministers, royalty... What? PM Sunak enjoys having entertaining prime ministers, royalties and drinking tea in his garden with President Biden. It makes him feel important. The only reason he's doing this job. Yeah. Making Titchy Sunak feel important is Titchy Sunak's number one priority.
Under my leadership, the government's priorities are your priorities.
Yeah, it's his number one priority. Party. Tim says, I want the Tories out at the next general election. I can forgive Labour for you, Les. However, I cannot vote for Labour because of the treatment of Jeremy Corbyn. Yeah. Right. Well, I think they were pushed into it by a press, the offshore billionaire tax avoidance press, who levelled their cannons at Jeremy Corbyn the moment he said something about having a quick peek into the acquisition of so many news titles in the hands of so few people who don't even live here. The moment those words had tumbled from his bearded lips, that sealed his fate, and they pummeled him on a daily basis. Not even Meghan Markle has got the sort of bad publicity that Uncle Jezza got. But you can't vote Labour because of the treatment of Jeremy Corbyn. So who's it going to be then, Tim? You could vote Green, like the good people of Uxbridge and South Ruislip did, and by which method the Conservative Party won. So, pick one. Select. What's it going to be? 0345 6060 973. Chingford. Hello, John.
Oh, hello, Nick. Oh, by the way, this weather, according to GB News, it's only weather.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. No, can I a couple of disclaimers before I get into my spiel? I mean, I'm bringing this up. It's an awful subject, but it's been given a lot of press coverage over here. And also, I heard of it from the BBC. Mm-hmm. Also, I'm not anti-American. In fact, there's some lovely people in rural America, so yeah. I just sort of
two or three
say
anyway.
that.
Yeah.
Sorry,
two or three, couple of three.
Well, no,
people.
I mean you've been all over America. I'm sure you met some really nice people out on the stick.
Yes, you don't hate Americans, but
no, it's yeah, no, it's just that I mean what has got a lot of controversy is this music video. I think the guy's named Jason Aldean.
Oh, this thing, don't try that in a small town, that thing.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you've seen it?
I haven't
you've heard
seen.
of it?
No, I've heard of it. I've read articles, or at least the headlines of articles about it. And essentially, he was saying, all these Black Lives Matter people, don't try that in a small town because you'll be met with a strong response. I think it was words and then when the backlash started, he said, "Oh, well, I didn't mean that at all. I just meant that people in small towns they all look out for each other and homely and good American people."
Yeah, it's very much aimed at the MAGA crowd and the NRA. Looking at it, it's very well shot and very well edited.
Is it?
But it's actually chilling. The thing is, if you silly boys go to rural America and you start disrespecting the flag and the police,
right.
We've got ways of dealing with it. Some of the liberal press have said it sort of like endorses lynching, which I think is a bit... No, I didn't see anybody... I didn't see the Black Lives Matter thing. I didn't see anybody taking the knee in it. It's mostly people who burn the flag and spit at the police.
Right. People who don't vote Trump. Yeah. Those people.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely very much... it's not the first time that, there's been... there was a thing in the Nixon era. There was no major label would touch it, but there was an underground hit, Welfare Cadillacs, and Nixon asked Johnny Cash to sing it at the White House, and Cash refused. He said it's totally repugnant.
Right.
I'm
on Team Johnny's side. But anyway, you lost me at country music. Not remotely interested, but thanks for the update, John. Got to go. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
I just want to tell you all how happy I am to be back in the studio making a picture again.
It's a radio show, dear. 0345 6060 973. Richard texts, can you stop calling the Tories the Conservative Party? They really are the con party. Con men and women fill in their boots with our money as fast as they can before the next election. It is truly scary what is happening, says Richard. Well, I must have said this 1,000 times. This country is like a car that is up on bricks. And the Conservative Party is stripping it for parts. And the moment the owner comes back with his key and sees what they've done to his motor, the Tory party will blame him for the state of his car. Eric says the reason the Labour Party is not going to call Boris Johnson's ULEZ charge because of the bigger picture. Does that make sense? The reason the Labour Party is not going to call Boris Johnson's ULEZ charge because of the bigger picture. What does that mean? Come on. Oh, message coming in from next door. Read the rest of the text. All right, then. The Labour Party takes all the flack, and in the future, when ULEZ is a success, Boris Johnson will then take all the credit and will then ride the wave back into number 10. Who would credit it? The great one in a second term. No. I cannot believe that Keir Starmer is still apologising for that ULEZ thing. It's not... I'll get into that in a while. It's just absolutely infuriating. I'm very, very disappointed with Keir Starmer. Chelsea, hello, Mark.
Hi there, hello. Can you hear me? Hello, hi.
Yes, Mark. Hello.
Yeah, I just thought I'd like to put this to bed, but unfortunately, not enough people listen to you or me. But this massive mystery as to why His Excellency the Prime Minister isn't reclining in the Bahamas with 16 yachts,
yes,
with the massive work, and why he chooses to do such a difficult, taxing job. It's quite straightforward. The automatic knighthood that comes at the end of the shift, breaking into the establishment when, at a highest end, when you come from a background that is hardly establishment, and prestige. That's quite straightforward. It's almost as painful as tickets about parking questions in the last programme.
Right, I must have missed that, but, yeah, OK. Right, message
But that's
received.
entirely why he's doing it. Influence, power, prestige, and...
I don't buy that. £1 billion comes with all the power and prestige that anybody on earth could ever want.
No, that's just money. That's nouveau riche. This is, sir, knighthood. You go to Buck House. You kneel. You get the sword put on you.
There's
you
absolute...
meet the
this is all...
weekly.
You're living in a fantasy world, Mark. There's nothing about the above that would get you anything that £1 billion wouldn't get you.
Well, but you'd have to give quite a lot of that to pro-establishment charities to be... Well, yeah, I guess.
Well, to get invited to all the best parties, do me a favour, £1 billion is accepted everywhere.
Yeah, but he hasn't got that... he's not going to part with that. Whereas
you don't have to. You don't have to. You just have to have that in reserve and be able to wave around a cheque for 10 million here and there.
Well, anyway. Now, what's the next thing? What's the next thing that's going to happen? Because, I mean, we've got such disaster. I mean, there's no old bill. I mean, God, what's going to happen next? They want to legalise the ganja, but it is. I see teenagers, 14-year-olds, smoking it on the steps of buildings that were once cop shops.
Wait, what are you talking about now? Rishi Sunak is not about legalising the ganja. That's Peter Tosh. I know, I find it difficult to tell them apart as well, but Peter Tosh on the one side, he wants to legalise it. Fishy Sunak on the other, he doesn't. It's an aid memoir I've just given you there, Mark. I want you to write that down. Rachel says, do you think that Nadine Dorries is still working very hard for her constituents and taking her handsome salary while considering whether or not to resign with immediate effect? You know, it's funny, but it's not funny. What is she actually doing for our money? What are any of them doing for our money? They've just sloped off for, I think it's 6 weeks holiday. Now, look around. Is this a well-run country? Is this country functioning as well as it could possibly function? I think the answer to that is no. Absolutely nothing works in this country. How on earth do they have the nerve to take off for 6 weeks? And don't tell me that they are sitting behind a desk in their constituencies with a line of people at the door waiting to fix their problems. Because, oh no, they're not. Oh no, they're not. Oh no, they're not. They'll be flipping through their metaphorical Rolodex and calling up people whose businesses they have done favours for and ask them if they can stay in their holiday chalets, is what they'll be doing. They'll be copping free tickets to the cricket and the golf. They will not be working for the money. They might be doing their second, third, fourth and fifth jobs, but not ours, not the ones that we're paying them for. And the moment they come back from 6 weeks holiday, I think they spend about 2 weeks back at the supposed job that we're paying them for, which of course is not 2 weeks, because they'll slope back about halfway through the first week and then leave halfway through the second week. So it's about a week, and then it's 3 weeks what they call conference season, which is essentially them booking rooms with an adjoining room where they'll put their most pulchritudinous secretary. It's painful. I don't know why we're putting up with it. Still, never mind, mustn't grumble. Let's have Fleet. Kirsty.
Hello, Nick.
Kirsty.
I just wanted to let you know I'm very discombobulated.
Yes.
I saw some Christmas cards in a shop.
Christmas cards?
Yeah, I know. And if the weather had have been normal and warm and sunny, I probably wouldn't have batted an eyelid.
Yeah.
But because I was freezing and I had gloves on and I was complaining about the rain, it suddenly was all too real. And
yes.
I want my money back.
It's chilling, is what it is, literally and figuratively. It's just awful.
If this weather was a horse, you'd be able to shoot it.
I would shoot it. Yeah, I would shoot it where it stands. I wouldn't even think twice.
Yeah. Anyway, just going. You just had a caller talking about ganja. One of my friends couldn't get an appointment to get some prescription meds the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And she said to me it was easier to pick up some ganja from another friend than get a prescription medicine.
Yeah.
What is the world coming to?
I know. Drug dealing is easier to access than a blooming chemist in this country.
Want to score some pot?
I know.
I think I'm going to change careers. Anyway, have a good evening.
Thanks a lot, Kirsty. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, I can beat that. I've already had a Christmas email advertising something that I can buy now in order to save time later.
What?
Yeah, Christmas. It's July. I think that must be a world record. Couldn't believe it when it came in. Act now to avoid disappointment and buy your Christmas hamper today. Yeah, let me think about that.
No.
No, and furthermore, cancel my account. Dale texts, what amazes me with Tory voters, generally old, he says, don't they even think of their grandchildren and how they're struggling under this government? No, they don't. Not remotely interested in the future and everything that involves. Dan says, yes, the holier-than-thou pious fools who think their individual votes are too special to sully and waste on anything except a socialist utopia from the year 3000. They get right on my nerves too. He says, apropos of, I've got absolutely no idea what he's talking about there. But it fits right in on this show. Merthyr Tydfil. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, how are you doing, Nick?
Good, thanks.
Should I wish you a happy Christmas?
No.
They're still getting called out to Foster Franz. Remember me? Do you remember Foster Franz?
Right.
They are indeed.
Right.
So when we are talking about sea temperatures, which is the thing you've got to worry about, never mind the temperatures on the land, it's the sea temperatures.
Yeah.
As that guy up in Leeds has said, you got to watch it. Mm-hmm. That's where it is. But the one thing I wanted to say, Starmer, he hasn't got it, Nick. He hasn't got it.
Now, when you say it, are you talking about sex appeal?
Disgusting.
I can't comment on that, unfortunately. But the thing is, if you look at the figures in this latest by-elections, they didn't come out in Yorkshire. It wasn't...
I don't know. I'm not sure about that because I think the turnout, on average, over the three of them, was a relatively healthy for a by-election, 46%, something like that.
Yes. Yeah,
I mean, that's about what you could expect on a rainy day for a general election.
Fair enough. But as far as they've assessed it, it looks very much as if the Conservative voters didn't vote. They sat in their hands, which is pretty damning. Plus Uxbridge, which now they turn in somersaults on Uxbridge, aren't they? The thing is, we have to, or somehow or other, the Labour Party has got to take a stand, haven't they? They've got to show that they believe in something. They've got to say, this is what we stand for.
Yeah, they have to give people They have to give people a positive reason to vote for them, rather than the Tory Party giving people a negative reason to. Wait, I got lost there, but you know what I mean. Yeah, right. Okay, on that moment of complete misunderstanding, I've got to go, Jeff, because I'm right up against the news. But thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. They're still pulling the coal out the ground in Merthyr Tydfil. Completely ignoring all of the warning bells. Hello? Wake up, sheeple. It's later than you think. It is, in fact, just past 10:30. The news headlines. I'm on the wrong page. With Tim Daly.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
I really like you. Do you like me?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Liz text, since 1979, I've voted for the Labour Party. I am a party member and have campaigned for them. Also, I have stood up for them at every opportunity. However, I am a socialist and I just can't support Keir Starmer's leadership. So I'm going to vote for the Green Party for the first time.
Groovy.
If ever Socialists does this, we could well have another 5 years of Sunak. Every. Very important letter missed out there. If every socialist does this, we could well have another 5 years of Sunak, and it will all because of Starmer's policies or lack thereof. No, Liz, it won't. It would be because of the EU. These people waiting for the perfect party to come along. It's just infuriating. No such thing exists. Pick the least bad option. York. Hello, Jan.
Hello, Nick.
Jan,
how are you?
I am great, mate.
Good. Climate change.
Yes.
If a lot of people are unable to live in their own countries and they all move north,
yeah,
I've had a horrible thought. What if the Earth gets top-heavy, spins up its axis? Then we're in trouble, aren't we?
That's not the horrible thought I thought you were going to relate. I thought that you were going to say, guess where they're going to be coming?
Well, they'll be coming here, won't they? No.
Yes, they will. Yeah, we'll have to build a wall like Donald Trump.
They'll all come north, and it'll get top-heavy, spin off its axis and fly off. Then what?
Well, that is a fact, yes.
We're in a mess, aren't we?
We certainly will be, yes. This whole planet will fall out the sky unless we're careful.
Yeah.
And then we'll be sorry.
We will.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for pointing that out for us, Jan. You've given us a lot to think about, yeah.
And you said you thought about putting the heating on today. I did as well.
Right.
It's freezing, isn't it?
It is blooming awful outside. It's like a nice day in October. It's not July. And I've looked forward or ahead into the future to see what it's going to be like. And it's just rubbish. Yes, for the next 2 weeks, it's going to be autumnal. Oh, my God.
And you know, it's just over a year since we had our hottest day. I think it was the 19th, wasn't it? 19th of July.
I remember that day. I was sitting outside, and even I thought, wow, this is just a bit too hot. I'm going to go inside now because I think I might actually pass out.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've ever thought that in this country, because I was sitting outside and it was fantastic. 'Cause, you know, if it's 90 degrees, it's great if you don't have to do anything. And I didn't on that day. So I was just sitting outside and I was enjoying it. And then it was almost as though somebody opened an oven door and the heat just sort of stepped up a notch instantly. Yeah. And I thought, okay, that's too much for me. I'm going inside.
I know.
This year, though, awful.
Yeah. I like happy medium myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
Go on.
I was just going to say, if they do all come north, it will be a bit of a problem, won't it? I mean, that could happen, couldn't it?
It could be. It could be hundreds of millions of people who are all on the move, and they won't all come here, despite what certain individuals would say.
I'm a nutcase,
but a significant number of them will come here. Wait, and it will make the crisis, as some people call it, that we're under at the moment, seem like small beer indeed.
But they'll all be moving north, so it'll tip. You know, I wonder if anybody's ever thought of that. Or is it just me?
It's just you, Jan, just you.
Is it?
Yeah, but keep that thought at the front of your mind. And I would tell anybody you meet. I would break your silence in a supermarket queue, Jan. Just tell everybody around you, all right?
I will, yeah.
Okay, excellent work. Thanks a lot. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. It's just that this entire Earth is going to spin on its axis, that's all. It'll be like a fairground ride. Hold tight. Brett texts, the UK is sovereign and its currency is a fiat one. You can't be in debt to yourself and you don't need anything to print the money because its value is held by the fact that it is the only way you can pay tax. Politicians and the royals operate on this principle but won't pass it on to the peasants. Right. Well, I wish I had any idea what you were talking about, Brett, but fortunately not. If what you mean is that if the government wants money, it can just magic it out of thin air, then yes, I understand that, and that is correct. Yeah. When they say they haven't got the money to do this and that, oh, yes, they do. They just don't want to spend it on you, you know.
The little people.
Not leprechauns. David says, you really are thick. Shall I read any further?
No.
I mean, okay, here's a tip, people. If you're going to insult someone, don't do it at the beginning of the sentence. Do it at the end. Because then you catch them out. If you do it at the beginning, then there is great likelihood that they're not going to read anything else that you've taken a great time and effort in writing. You idiot. See, like that. Anyway, he says, you really are thick. How can you not give the king a decent pay rise? What a mess the country would be in if he had to go if he had to go on strike for a more livable wage. The way that they're trying to put that by us, by telling us up is down and left is right, is just, it's insulting, is what it is. They're trying to kid on that the king is taking a pay cut. That's the message that they're giving. His Majesty is taking a pay cut, which is the right and proper thing to do. That's the message. The reality is he's getting a pay rise of about £45 million a year. But they're selling it to us as a pay cut, with a straight face, assuming that we won't investigate any further. It's just incredible how stupid they think we are. It's annoying, is what it is. They have absolutely zero respect for any of us. If that is the level of duplicity. If that's as much effort as they can be bothered to go into, just tell us that black is white, and not expect us to even think about it, just to take that on board. Oh yeah, that's right, black is white. Yeah, thanks for underlining that for us. It's just, I just cannot get over the disrespect that the people that we pay to act in our best interests have for us. But anyway, I'll get onto that in a minute, because just, God, the stuff that's going on, eh? What a way to run a country.
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Southall, Manesh.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about equilibrium, if that's okay with you.
Equilibrium, yeah, all right, go on then.
So the world works in a certain way with equilibrium,
yeah,
and we've got global warming, which has been happening for donkey's years. Otherwise, we'll be stuck in the ice ages. So a lot of these people that go with the Green Party and talk about global warming affecting us, this has been happening for years and years and years. So the only thing it's affecting is the people that are living in rich countries who are by the sea, who are going to be affected. So
right, and hang on. So what is your field of expertise, Manesh?
I'm an expert in global warming.
Yeah, you're not though, really, are you?
I am, kind of.
You're one of those.
Yeah. From an equilibrium perspective, I am, yeah.
Right, yeah. You are a professor of equilibrium at Oxford University, right?
Not yet. I hope to go there for my MBA studies next year.
Well, you could go there. Go there for lunch. Have a nice day out. I think that's about as far as you'll get.
Nick, the point is, how are you going to react to this? This is how much coal and oil is left on this earth.
Plenty,
think about it.
Plenty enough to ruin everything.
Yeah, and then what? Rich people's properties.
Rich people don't have a problem. It's not rich people that are going to suffer the problems. Hundreds of millions of poor people are going to suffer first. They're going to find that the areas they live in are uninhabitable, and so they will have to leave. They'll have to either just sit there and starve to death, or they'll have to leave to go to somewhere where their crops don't fail, or where the waters do fall, or where not so much water falls. It's really remarkable how everything that we do, everything that we count on, is sort of based on the reliability of our weather. We in this country, I mean, you know what this country is like when it snows, just a tiny little bit. The whole country comes to a halt. Trains don't run, roads are closed, planes don't take off, power lines go down. I mean, everything shuts down for just this icing sugar dusting of snow in this country. Can you imagine if things changed to the point that we would get as much snow as the places on a similar latitude on the planet to us? I mean, it's only I can't remember what it's called now, the gyre in the water that feeds warm air to us, that keeps us, relatively mild all year long. But if in winter we would get 6 feet of snow or more, like they do in, upstate New York and places like that, I mean, we don't have the infrastructure to cope with that. I mean, this whole country was shut down. So that's just an example of how we rely on our weather being reliable. But other people who live in poorer countries, they rely on the rains coming at a certain time. And if they don't, they all die. So it's a little bit more important than, your train has been cancelled. And when the weather becomes unreliable, well, I mean, all bets are off. That's probably what the Third World War will be fought over: water, or a lack of it, or food. I mean, people are freaking out about the price of food. Just wait until the crops fail, and then countries will start bombing each other for a loaf of bread and a pack of butter. Anyway, Minesh, thanks for your insight and wisdom. As soon as you come up with any other theories, I want you to let me know straight away, all right? 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
LBC. Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbot. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Yes, hello. I've been waiting for you. Hello.
0345 6060 973. Rose texts, not voting is, like everything else, about self-image. Tossing your head, you say to people... What? I think Rose is painting us a picture there. Tossing your head, you say to people, I don't vote. It's a corrupt system. I have nothing to do with it. And while yours and everyone else's life worsens under endless Tories, you parade your self-image and feel good, says Rose. You keep your self-image to yourself. No one wants to see that.
Disgusting.
Di says, some royalist bloke rang in to defend our King's pay rise, saying it comes out of the Crown lands which make billions for the state, ignoring that said land was wrested from our grasp by William the Conqueror. Conkerer. Yeah. 0345 6060 973. I heard that if you dip William the Conqueror in vinegar, it makes him harder. Wellington, hello, John.
Oh, hello, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
You sound fantastic this evening.
What, like science fiction, you mean?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Right.
I was going to talk to you about John Carpenter's film, The Thing.
Which thing?
Well, because we talked about the Alien film before and all that with Xenomorph. But have you ever seen John Carpenter's The Thing?
Which thing?
Well, it's from 1982. Something. Or
you can ask me that as many times as you like. I'm still going to ask you every single time. Yes, well, I have. That's the one where they were in... spoiler alert.
Warning.
That's the thing where they were in some polar ice station, right? And,
that's right.
And the thing was like a mist.
No, it comes in like a little... It comes in like a wolf dog. And then it takes over people, it imitates them, and they turn into the thing. But it's like a paranoid film. It's like, who's the thing?
Right.
And I was thinking about this, about the Tory cabinet at the moment. That like, you'd be thinking, which one of us is the thing?
Yeah, I think it's the person that used to be in the cabinet.
My view.
Yeah, who isn't in the cabinet anymore.
But it's got to be Sue. What's her name? Cruella.
Cruella, yeah. Cruella de Vil. Yeah.
Suleiman, she's got to be the thing. It can't be Sunak because he's one of the in-betweeners.
Yes.
So he doesn't qualify.
No.
But also, I was thinking, have you ever heard of a game that people play? It's called Shove, Marry, and the word that rhymes with...
I have heard of that, yes, but you know that it's something we can't talk about on this on the radio. You could talk about it on the television. In fact, there's probably somebody doing all of those three things on Channel 4 right now.
Exactly, and I was worried about saying it. Because of Ofcom.
Yeah.
But you know the game, right?
Yeah.
Now take the last three prime ministers.
Yeah. No, and no in that order.
No.
But thanks for asking, John. 0345 6060 973. You ever heard anything like that? I am stunned. I can't. That's the worst question I've ever been asked, and he didn't even ask it. Roger says, I'm working on a cover version of Never Been to Me, the country and western classic by Charlene. I'm finger picking it on my guitar. He's not gripping it. Rishi Sunak's gripping it.
I'm gripping it.
He is finger picking it. So he says, sometimes I'm so moved by my own performance I make myself cry. I bet you'd like it, says Roger. No, I wouldn't. Like I said to a previous caller, you lost me at country and western. David says, kids born now will enter a world devoid of jobs, so why have them? There is no hope. Cheer up, mate. It might never oh, no, that's right. It already has. Damn it. Let's have Milton Keynes. Georgie.
Hello there, Nick.
Hello there, Georgie.
Hello, darling. I've got two things to say. I only had one thing, first of all.
Yeah.
That was about why do we put up with it in this country. But before then, I had to comment to David that called you sick. How dare you, David? You know, at the end of the day, you contact Nick, you start your complaint too early. That is sick.
Moan.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
We're listening to you. How sick is that?
Exactly.
Absolutely right. So, stick as two short plates. Moving on, the reason why we're putting up with it in this country, give him a chance. Oh, like the loose women. Oh, give Boris a give him a chance.
Oh, Mike, leave him alone. He's doing his best. Those people.
He's doing his best. Even Nigel Farage, who I would never vote for because I do believe he's a racist man, and that doesn't run through me at all. But even he said it was a mistake to support Boris. You know what? The reason why we put up with it, Nick, because this country, what I can shut up, all we do is moan. The likes of Spain and France, what they do, they vote with their feet. I was in Malaga Airport a couple of years ago. The aircon had packed up in there. No word of a lie. I wasn't impressed, but because I was waiting to go through security, I could have spent a bit longer at my home over there. And all of a sudden, everyone disappeared and everything just stopped. And all us tourists or what have you, travellers were standing there, what's going on? Then guy come up and said, we're outside, the staff's all outside, the aircon's not working. He said it in Spanish, but broken English, Span English. That's what I speak. And we've all gone for where out of the airport, Porto. It's too hot.
Yeah.
And that's it. And do you know what? When they'd all had a break, they'd come back in. I thought, as much as that annoys you, you've got to respect these people. They vote with their feet.
They stand up for themselves, whereas we just grumble for 8 hours straight and then just get on with it.
Yeah, and they don't say about the aircon, oh, give it a chance.
Yeah.
It'll start working. No, if it ain't working, we're out of here. Listen, I love the show. Shame on David, and I hope he's turned off. Have a bit of respect for yourself, David.
Yes.
Don't listen to Nick.
All right.
You're showing yourself up, mate.
Okay, excellent work.
Nick.
Thanks a lot, Georgie. That's right, respect. RPSECTP. Peter says, as a lifelong Labour voter, I really worry that as we get closer to a general election, Keir Starmer could make many Labour voters ask themselves, what's the point in voting Labour? if they offer nothing more than Tory austerity. He's so focused on Tory voters that he could lose his own. Labour needs to offer people hope after 13 years of Tory hell, but they're just offering us more of the same. Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, the amount of people that contact me on this show and say, well, you know, I normally vote Labour, but, you know, I think I'm not going to bother. Because it's not a perfect party anymore. You know what? It never was. It's a fantasy that you are holding on to, that even such a thing could possibly exist. There is no such thing as the perfect party or the perfect leader. There's always got something wrong with them. If you're going to wait until you find the perfect party before you put your cross next to them, then that day will never come. So just pick the least bad option. Just do it. Staying at home is not an option. Because if you stay at home, then we get what we've got with the Brexit vote, which is that we are now being run by whoever shouts the loudest. A minority of the population who are obsessed by one issue or another will then be leading all of us because the majority couldn't be bothered to go out and vote. And that was the case in the by-election, the majority. I mean, I know that it was 70-odd% with the referendum, but that 30% is what swung it. I bet the vast majority of the 30-odd% that didn't vote in the referendum were just fine with us being in the EU, but they couldn't conceive of the vote going the wrong way, as far as they're concerned, and so they couldn't be bothered to go out and vote. If it had been 100% of the population, I do believe we would not have left the EU. By which method we would be less of an international laughingstock. I mean, so many articles being written in foreign papers about what a catastrophe Brexit is, and people in this country, they don't even want to talk about it. It's like a national embarrassment. It's like a shame. Some sort of shame that's fallen on a family that nobody in that family wants to talk about for fear of highlighting the issue. And people abroad have noticed this. I mean, they're pointing at us and they're laughing, essentially. And the ones that aren't laughing are feeling pity for us, which is not really the sort of buccaneering global Britain bestriding the world that we were promised, is it? We're the comedy relief now. We're the and finally story. Good grief. People who've got sad eyes on are going, oh, bless. To us. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
Awful. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10, Nick Abbot, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
You're wondering what it's all about, and I can't tell you because I don't know myself.
Yeah! Dude! Ollie texts, do you pretend to be anti-Tory to earn a living, or do you do this for fun? Are those the only two choices I have? Jack says, don't you think that Liz Truss is awfully quiet after causing absolute financial chaos to most of the people in the UK? Well, she's quiet, but not quiet enough.
Absolutely.
And Rose texts, Johnny, in inverted commas, is a deeply unpleasant little man that much is clear from his nasty sarcasm. He could have just said that Mather was too young, which I disagree with, but he preferred to be spiteful. We're talking about Johnny Mercer. I don't know, is Johnny too childish a name for a grown-up? Or at some point do you just go with John? I think probably the latter. Crayford. Hello, Terry.
Hello?
Yes, Terry.
Oh, hi, Nick. I'm glad you're feeling great, mate.
Thanks.
The reason I rang, it was Jan in York, actually, talking about everyone coming over here and maybe the world will
come over here, eat our butter.
Well, I was reading a scientific article this morning.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently the Earth has tilted on its axis by 31.5 degrees.
What?
Yes.
No wonder I'm feeling weird.
They don't know why, and they don't know what they're going to do about it.
Wait a minute, back up. The Earth has tilted on its axis by 31-point-some degrees?
Yes.
That sounds serious.
Well, there we go. I mean, perhaps we should all be running in the opposite direction.
Yes. Everybody get on the other side of the planet. Yeah, we'll try and right it again. Yeah, that's a good idea.
And I think we should get on big boats, never mind small ones.
Yeah, we're going to need a bigger boat. That's quite right, yeah. But I know that we're on a gosh, are you talking to us on a ham radio set?
No.
It sounds like you're calling us from the moon, Terry.
Oh, well, it's probably where my axis is.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that world axis got a lot to answer for. Yeah. All right, well, leave it with me. It's a very strange line. I imagine that somebody who is responsible for the Earth tilting may actually be listening to this call right now, and they've got you on their list.
Oh, dear.
This is going on your permanent record, Terry. All right, thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. Okay, humans have sucked... Okay, this is... Where'd you get this from?
Telegraph?
Oh, the Telegraph. Oh, well, then it's bound to be true. Humans have sucked so much water out of the ground that the Earth has tipped. Pumping excessive amounts of water for farming over 2 decades has caused the planet to tilt more to the east. You've got to be having a laugh, ain't ya? The tilt of the Earth has shifted because of the vast quantity of underground water humans have sucked out over the past 2 decades, according to scientists. Pumping water out of the ground for drinking and farming redistributed such a large mass that the Earth's tilt moved by 31.5 inches to the east towards Iceland between 1993 and 2010. According to the study published in the Geophysical Research Letters Journal, the planet's north-south axis has been tipping at a rate of about 1.7 inches per year. Oh, my God. I mean, pretty soon this entire planet's going to be flipped upside down. Then what? We're going to have kangaroos bouncing around the road down here. I can't believe it. 1.7 inches per year. So if we all just keep shuffling, make sure you shuffle south to north by 1.7 inches per year, and then everything will maintain equilibrium. I had no idea that we were in such great danger. If it goes beyond a certain point, then we'll start spinning around like a fairground ride. Stop this planet. I want to get off. Feeling a bit bilious at the moment. Oldbury. Hey up, Ranjit.
Oh, yeah, Nick, you okay?
Yes, good, thanks.
Yeah.
Apart from that whole Earth axis thing. Apart from that.
I'll talk about that in a minute. I know you done it extensively last night. Messages on Boris's phone.
Yeah.
Messages from his girlfriends. Hi, Boris, I'm late.
Yeah, and his answer to that is, who's this? New phone.
No, I know. Yeah, I want to talk about dinglings, yeah? You know, that young lady, Jan, yeah?
Yeah.
She was such a nice dingling, yeah? You know, was she serious or was she actually playing you up about the earth, you know, everybody invading us, you know, from the south? And
well, it's a believable scenario. If people in poorer countries, which are usually the hot ones, if they find that their crops don't grow no more, and they ain't got no water to drink and they ain't got no food to eat, then they can either just sit down and die, or they can move. And there will be, and where they're going to move to is not this country specifically, but but Europe in general, and a significant number of them will come here.
Yeah, okay. You know, you're on about who Corella is, yeah? She's definitely Reagan, you know, at the films. You know Reagan out of The Exorcist?
No.
Have you watched The Exorcist?
Well, a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, the little child was called Reagan, wasn't she? I'm sure she was.
Oh.
Or something like that.
Right. Well, you tell people of a certain age Reagan, and they're thinking about the Sweeney. You're Nick, sunshine.
You know, I'll tell you what, I'm just getting more and more amazed about how people are falling for this divide and rule. And Rishi Sunak has today come out. He says, I'm going to divide and rule everybody. He's come out with it.
They're not even pretending to be secretive about it. They're telling us what they're going to do. It's like, we're telling you now how we cut the magician's assistant in half, and then they do it.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, when these, you know, okay, people are divided, the knuckle-dragging people are out of the equation now.
Yeah.
Right?
Those people.
Right? And then you've got, like, you know, when you see about UFO sightings, there's always people wearing dungarees with long beards and a cap in the Midwest in America, right? Okay, you know, it is, isn't it? When you say, and they drive a pickup truck and they see a UFO.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, what Rishi Sunak is appealing to, and I tell you what, you know, like obviously me being Asian, I get some of my Asian friends who are racist towards these people in the dinghies and that. So I've got no hope now, right? When, you know, my own people are racist.
Rajit, everybody hates everybody else. It doesn't matter what colour your skin is. You hate people who are different to you. I'm not talking about you personally, but it is a survival mechanism. Be distrustful of those that do not walk, talk and squawk exactly like you do. That's the inbuilt survival mechanism. It's just that what you do with that information then defines who you are as a human being.
I've said to people, I said, okay, I tell you what, let's make sure that everybody who's non-white leaves, yeah? I said, then you'll have racism between which football team you're going to support.
Yes.
Then you have the tall people hating the short people, right? Fat people hating thin people. What are you going to do then?
And the light brown people hating the dark brown people, and the curly haired people hating the straight haired people, and we'll always find some way of defining ourselves in difference to everybody else that's around us.
But Rishi Sunak has openly come out with that's what he's going to do.
Yes.
Well, he's the Prime Minister of this country, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he needs to understand, right, that he's in charge of 67 million people in this country.
Yeah, no, he isn't. He's just playing games. This is all a game to all of these people. If you can say that this is my plan to win the next election, we're going to divide people into warring clans, and by that method rule them all, then you're not a serious person.
But, you know, Nick, can I just say, you know when you used to watch the American elections, right, years ago, or even in some of the films, what they would do, they'd create a war just to win the election, and I think the politics in this country have gone like that now, right?
Yeah, well, not for the first time either. See Margaret Thatcher above.
Yeah, their ultimate goal now is to win that election, and Sunak is going to do everything to win it, right?
Yes.
And then the thing is, I think what we need is, remember that video, Two Tribes Go to War? we need to put Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer in the boxing ring and then
Yes.
box it out, yeah?
Right. As long as we don't have to take their shirts off and cover them in oil, because I do recall that's what happened in that video. Nobody wants to see that. Put it away.
Disgusting.
All right. Thanks for the bad news, Ranjit. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what is going on in this country? The Times reports that Fishy Sunak is preparing to launch an aggressive political campaign on crime, migrant boats and transgender rights in an attempt to drive down Labour's lead in the polls. Divide and conquer, I think was the phrase that was used. This is not a serious person. You have to wonder, why are they trying so desperately hard to win the next election? For what purpose? What is their plan for the country? I mean, the only plan that they could possibly have is to fix all of the problems that they themselves have caused over the last 13, 14 years. I mean, what other things have they got? They want to fix the NHS. Well, the NHS was just fine when they took it over. They want to fix the legal system, law and order. Well, I do believe that we had more police persons, more police support persons, more magistrates' courts, more police stations, and less crime than when they took over. Everywhere you look, everything that they say that they're going to do is something to address the problems that they themselves have caused. Social care. Oh, we're going to fix social care. Really? Well, who's ruined that then over the past decade plus? So what is it? What is the reason that they want to cling on to power so badly? That they want to do well by the country? Well, how long does it take? They've been in power for 13 years. Do you not think that if that was actually top of their list of priorities, that they would have done something about it already? So I don't get it, other than the power itself is the goal. And then that's a completely different situation that we find ourselves in. Because if that's the only reason that they're doing it, then that would disclude them from doing it in most people's minds. If all they want to do to win the next election is to win the next election, if that's it, to just cling on to power by whatever means possible, then that should rule them out of running this country, shouldn't it? I mean, what is the plan other than to fix the problems that they have caused? Or to say they're going to, which is worse, but probably more accurate. And it's exactly what 30p Lee said, Lee Anderson, a few months ago. He said on television, the Tories don't have Boris and Brexit, which is what won it for them last time, so I suppose it'll be the war on woke and trans issues. I think those were the exact words that he used. Or, in other words, what would Donald Trump do?
Everything that I've done is 100% proper. That's what I do, is I do things proper.
And this is what we've got from now until the next election. The Conservatives are planning to focus on divisive issues. That's their word. The government said it's going to be drawing up a series of policies for a crime and justice bill that's going to include tougher sentences for antisocial behaviour, fraud, burglary and robbery. Well, you know what? Their record on crime speaks for itself. Every crime in the book is up since they came to power because they slashed the policing budget, just like they slashed everything else that we poor dopes who pay taxes rely on. You know.
The little people.
Not leprechauns. I mean, it makes you wonder where the money went, because it didn't go on policing. I mean, they lost 20,000 officers, 22,000 support staff, closed half the police stations and the magistrates' courts, and then they blamed the legal profession for not being able to cope. I mean, it's the same trick they pulled with the NHS. It's everywhere you look. They defund an organisation and then blame that organisation for failing. So, you know, tougher sentences will sound great to their fans who like a bit of armchair, vicarious vengeance. But it won't make any difference out there, because you've got to catch the criminals first. And the police are so swamped they won't show up if you're being burgled at this minute and have the thief in a headlock. It's just going to be a few unfortunates who will have the book thrown at them in a sort of pantomime of pretend justice. And he's also expected to press ahead with the trans stuff because, you know, that plays really well with people who don't feel they can yell gay insults across the street anymore because that's frowned on. Now they found something else right up their alley. God, it's all so depressing. 0345. Still, never mind. Mustn't grumble.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC. Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Hang about, Nick. Listen. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, Nick, right?
0345 6060 973. John texts, I find it hard to believe that a country that cracked the Enigma code couldn't bust into Boris Johnson's WhatsApp messages in a few minutes. That's right, ain't it, Bodge?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Paul says, flip a coin. Either disease or fire will sink the barge project. The ghouls who initiated it won't care, and their mates will have cashed the cheques by then. This is that barge thing. The maths of which I went through last night. I'll just go through it briefly again tonight. By the way, are these the messages still from last night? Hello? Oh, there's no one in there. There's no one. Don't be alarmed, there's just nobody in there. We're a rudderless ship, just being blown around on the sea. I'm sure everything will be fine. So our government paid £1.6 billion, not million, billion, for 5 migrant ships over 2 years to house 2,000 people. An Australian company, Australian. Well, I mean, why the hell are we buying these things from Australia? You would have to leave this planet to get further away. Anyway, I'm sure somebody will look into it. An Australian company was given at least £1.6 billion to provide barges to house 2,000 migrants for 2 years. There was no competition, and the deal was, of course, done in secret, as you would expect. Their shares jumped more than 12% on the news. Isn't that nice for them? So, let's do the math. I'm going to do mental arithmetic on the air.
Oh, no.
1.6 billion divided by 2,000 people is £800,000 per asylum seeker. Now, let's figure it out by day. So there's about 730 days for 2 years, because that's the contract, 1.6 billion for 2 years, 2,000 people. If you divide 800,000 per asylum seeker by 730 days, that is £1,100 per night per asylum seeker for a shared room. So in order to save the taxpayer the cost of booking hotel rooms for these people at 50 quid a night, the Conservatives are paying £1,100 a night for those prison boats. So just pause and think about that for a minute. A hotel would cost 50 quid a night, but that's considered too much. So instead of paying 50 quid a night to house them, we're going to be paying £1,100 a night per person for 2 years. Are you with me so far? It's worse than that, though, because I looked into one of the most luxurious fleets on the cruise ship, in the cruise ship sector, Royal Caribbean. Very, very nice indeed. Now, let's just go straight to the top of their list and pick the most luxurious boat they've got. Oasis class. Ooh. Fortunately, they let out not just rooms individually for cruises, you can buy the whole boat for any period that you like. Now, for a 4-night stay for an entire boat whose occupancy is 5,614 people, which is over double what the government has paid for, the average price per person per day is, and this is a dollar amount, $205. That is for the Royal Caribbean's most luxurious cruise liner. $205 a day, which is about 160 quid. So, and that, by the way, includes transport to the boat, all meals on board, all non-alcoholic beverages, and entertainment. $205 a night, which is about 160 quid. So for those prison boats, we're spending £1,100 per night per person. We could hire one of the most luxurious cruise liners on Earth for a fifth of that. Where's the money going? And they have the nerve to go on camera and say they're doing this in order to give the taxpayer value for money. What the hell is going on in this country? I mean, if I've got any of that wrong, please put me right, because it's going to keep me up at night. We're spending 5 times as much as one of the world's most luxurious cruise liners to put the people who arrive here in the damp, in a dinghy, up in a prison ship. How does that work? Who's the one that's signing these contracts? I want the name of the people. Never mind, eh? Mustn't grumble. Let's have Erith. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Nick. Thanks, Amy. I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but you know when you say about if we have the next general election.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you what, everyone's losing, in my opinion, with this ULEZ especially. There's another argument where everyone's arguing amongst themselves again. You see their little plan and all that. But because I spent most of my adult life without the legal right to vote, yeah?
Right.
So, like, homeless people, and there's so many people without the right to vote. So these people that, you know, like you say, too lazy to do it, and then, listen, it's coming, people.
Well, that's part of the ID little ruse that they stole from the Republican Party in America. If it just prevents a certain, even if it's a small number of people, that's the kind of thing that can shift an election. The Tories won Ulster, Uxbridge and Ruislip by just over 400 votes. So if they could have just persuaded... you know, if those 400, if 500 people had to switch their vote, then it's all you need is a small amount of people to be dissuaded from voting. Then and it can shift an election for you.
But I think Nick, that people look. There's bad coming, and a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, I didn't see that coming," but you did.
Yes.
Do you see what I mean, Nick?
Yes, we're the bells are tolling. Wake up, sheeple. It's later than you think.
I wish people would listen.
Yeah, but they won't. Not now. Not ever. Never. No, they won't. All right, thanks a lot, Steve.
Have a good show, Nick.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. 0345 6060 973. Ollie says, please explain what Starmer will do any better than the Tories. Oh, God. Please explain what Starmer will do that's any better than the Tories, says Ollie. He says, at least people like Sir Mogg want to save and protect our tradition. Starmer and Labour want to ruin our country and trash our way of life, says Ollie. I don't mean this in an insulting way, Ollie, but you're an idiot. I assume you're joking. Kate says you can get a room at the Savoy for less than that. I know which I'd prefer. What is wrong with these people? Pretty much the only thing they're any good at is wasting our money. Yeah. Wasting our money. It's just, it seems to be their way of life. It's what makes them bounce out of bed in the morning. How much of their money can we waste today? What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
I can't believe it. 0345 6060 973. Hey, by the way, are these last night's texts and tweets?
Yes.
They are? Oh, my God. I haven't even got through them yet, and there's all of... oh, look at that. 7 pages of closely typed messages I've got to get through. How do these people get my number? Why can't they just leave me alone? 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Are you trying to tell me that this is your act?
Sadly, yes. Paul says, someone correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Mr. Khan, as in the London mayor, he's a right mayor, have to agree to certain measures such as expanding the congestion zone ULEZ in order to secure money from the government to run Transport for London, which means that although Khan believes in lowering air emissions, he's only really doing what Grant Shapps and the government wanted him to do, and the brilliant bit is that they've managed to pull the wool over people's eyes. What's bizarre is they seem to have been able to pull the wool over Keir Starmer's eyes. He keeps apologising for something that's got nothing to do with them. Sir Keir Starmer, says The Guardian, has said that the Labour Party must be doing something very wrong over the controversial ULEZ expansion policy after its loss in the Uxbridge and Ruislip by-election. He said that despite the party's success at the Selby and Ainsty by-election, its loss in Uxbridge and South Ruislip showed that there was still a long way to go. What are you talking about, Keir Starmer? If you add the Labour vote to the Green vote, and you would have to assume that the Greenies are all about clean air, then the vote for ULEZ was overwhelming. It's just that our screwed-up system we got here, first past the post, means that usually the right-wing party wins because the left-wing vote gets split. It's a system that benefits the Conservative Party more than any other party, first past the post, which makes it doubly weird that Keir Starmer isn't even going to contemplate changing it. Starmer said, we're doing something very wrong if policies put forward by the Labour Party end up on each and every Tory leaflet. We've got to face up and learn those lessons. Hello? Can you hear this, Keir Starmer? The ULEZ charge was not a Labour idea. It was Boris Johnson's invention when he was the mayor.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And he really was a right mayor. And it was subsequently insisted upon by the Tory government and Grant Shapps in particular, who tied its introduction and expansion to government funding for Transport for London, the tubes, the buses, the trains. Not a Labour policy, it's a Tory policy. Why are you not understanding this, Keir Starmer? No idea. It's just mystifying. It's like he's trying to lose. On Friday, Starmer urged the Labour Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, to reflect on the impact of extending the ultra-low emission zone to every borough, including Uxbridge and South Ruislip, where the party was narrowly defeated in a by-election on Thursday. But like I said, if you add the votes of the Greenies to Labour, then the ULEZ pro-lobby won that election by a landslide. And besides, approximately how many people have to die before clean air becomes a good policy? You know, roughly. Give me a number. I'll make it easier. How many children have to die before we make cleaner air a priority? Because it's not his number one priority.
Under my leadership, the government's priorities are your priorities.
Yeah, clean air is not one of them. So, how many children have to die of polluted air before before cleaner air becomes a good idea? Is it 10, 20, 100, 1,000? A nice round number, 1,000. 1,000 dead children before we do something about our polluted air. Or here's a more personal question. How many of your own children? Might be a better question. I'll just guess that number is 0. Because about 9,400 people die from poor air quality every year in London. And their treatment on the NHS costs between £1.4 and £3.7 billion a year. I mean, is that enough to make cleaner air a priority? Or is that not quite enough dead people to do something about it? ULEZ costs £12.50 a day for less than 10% of the cars in London that don't get a free pass. So would you spend £12.50 a day to keep your own child alive? Or is that too much? Angela Rayner, the Labour's deputy leader, said the party had lost by 495 votes in the constituency because it had failed to listen to voters over concerns about ULEZ. Well, you know what? This is one of those things that no one should be listening to the voters about. If we listened to the voters, we wouldn't be driving in cars at all. We'd still be riding on horseback. And can you imagine the smell of that?
Disgusting.
0345 6060 973. Sam Batch. Hello, John. Oh, John.
John from where?
Sam Batch.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I was trying to get the cat in.
The cat. Ah.
You said before the break.
Yeah.
People hate each other. The English hate the English.
Everybody hates
They always
everybody
have
else.
done.
Yeah.
And then we hate everybody else.
Everyone.
So, yeah, there you go. That's the English for you.
It's everyone. Everybody hates everybody else. It's just that we put up with what's the word? God, what is the word? We put up with each other and we're rub along for just to make life easy.
If I live in a certain area, I call names about people's accent in that area. They live in that area. They call names of accent in people in the accent in that area.
Right.
And if you're well off in London, you call names of everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, when are we going to stop? Just accept that we all are English.
Why can't we just get along?
That's exactly right, yeah. And we just can't.
Well, the reason that we can't is because it's not in our nature. There's a good reason why human beings are the number one species on Earth. It's not because we're nice. It's because we're nasty. We will, when we are threatened, work together in order to defeat a common enemy. But once we've done that, then we have so much rage and anger and violence inside of us, which is usually covered up by this thin veneer of civilization. But we look around for somebody else to have a go at. Once we've beaten saber-toothed tigers, then we start on each other.
Yeah, but I think somebody said to me, if somebody's below you, if you see your head and there's below you, kick it.
Yeah.
I mean...
We have been trained to think that those below us on the ladder are pulling us down, but that's not right. It's those above us on the ladder who are pushing us down.
Yes, because they want us down so they can stay where they are.
Exactly, yeah.
Thanks for that.
All right, thanks a lot, John. 0345 6060 973. Chris says, Chris Grayling is organising the barges. He's very good with sea vessels. We're doomed. Johnny says, when's Fishy going to stop gripping it?
I'm gripping it.
I think it's cutting off his blood supply, says Johnny. You want to stop gripping it so tightly there, Fishy?
I am totally 100% on it.
He is 100% on it. He's got that on his to-do list. It's his number one priority. Tooting. Hello, Jan.
Hi, Nick. Good evening.
Jan.
Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for making your call.
I keep thinking about, you were saying what's going on in this country,
yes.
and it's are we going towards some terrible Armageddon with the climate change? Well, it seems that. And then I come across. Oh no, I know you said something the other day which stuck in my mind about. In wartime, the Treasury and the Bank of England can print money
anytime they want.
Anytime they want. But what's happened is that I think I thought was it for all the governments, didn't they? For during the pandemic. Printed a lot of money, like America got into big trouble with it. They went into trillions, didn't they?
Well, they're not in trouble. They can still pay their way, and America still functions as an economy, and it's doing significantly better than we are, even though they owe a lot more than we do. It's not the owing that's the problem. It's the paying the interest and your economy ticking over so that you can do that.
it's really not very reassuring when you read that the Bank of England is forecasting on using a broken model for their inflation.
I don't really understand international finance, but I think the way it works is the government borrows money or it prints money and then pays the interest on that money by printing more money.
I think that. What did our government printed 450 billion?
Except they didn't actually print it; they just tapped it out. Tapped it out on a computer screen, and suddenly it existed somewhere.
Like in those films of them. but the thing is that it's crazy. I mean, it really is crazy. If the government doesn't know, if the Bank of England is working on a broken model for trying to, fix things, and well, where are we going? There was Trussonomics that was wrong. So, and there's the whole area where when they get the jitters, I think they call it the shadow banks. The stock exchange or the mortgage people, the lenders, the investment banks that are unregulated. Really, I
don't think any of the above are shadow banks. But anyway, go on.
Well. So, I mean, they can skew the economy, anyway, you know what I mean? It's even if the banks had more control over what model they were using to do with avoiding recession and everything. And
so, in other words, just raising interest rates, that's all central banks seem to be able to do. That's pretty much their only weapon, is to raise interest rates and cross their fingers and hope for the best, and then count all the money that they've earned that year for not really doing very much. Millions and millions and millions of pounds we're paying these people, and all they do is put the interest rate up by a quarter of a percentage point here and there, or they don't, and that's it. What else do they do?
I was just coming to these points that there's an excitement. I'm sure the Tory supporters in the finance sector near the election time will get everyone excited that a 0.1% shift in growth or something is so significant that everything's going to change dramatically, and it's just a small percentage. But the way they do it, to inform people, they try to write out that there's been some wonderful change, and that the mortgages aren't going to suddenly, mortgages are going to be falling, and it's like it's a crazy scenario, isn't it? I mean, you only have to have some jitters in the stock exchange, like what happens in Silicon Valley in America.
It's a crazy scenario the way you're explaining it, Jan. I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, and furthermore, you're giving me a headache. But leave it with me, and I'll sort it out by the morning. All right. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, it doesn't seem to make no sense to me that they're increasing the interest rates, making money more difficult to borrow, more expensive, in order to bring inflation down. The idea being that we will spend less because we're spending more on the interest of the money that we borrowed. But there's nothing less that people can buy now. People aren't going out and buying luxuries. They're not going out and competing with each other over Ferraris and bottles of champagne. We're buying boxes of cereal and gallons of milk. You can't buy less food if you're not really eating very much in the first place. If we've got kids starving in this country, then there's not this rush to buy luxuries. People aren't overspending. That's not the problem. That's not why the inflation rate is up. It's not an overspending problem. It's a profiteering problem. And increasing the interest rates is adding to that problem, because then the banks make money. So they're profiteering. And so we're being ripped off by the energy companies and by the fossil fuel companies and by the banks and by the food shops. And all of these people are making the inflation rate go up, not us competing with each other to buy things that we don't need. So I don't really understand the basic point of what it is they're doing, other than it makes banks a lot of money. I guess that's it. 034... It's not any way to run a country, though, is it? 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
Ellie text, just made corned beef hash. When did you last have it? Not 5 minutes ago, I bet. I won. My game, my rules. What's corned beef hash? I thought that's just something that came in a tin. You make it? Out of what? Tim says, the most astonishing thing about the 3 by-elections is that in spite of everything the Tories have put us all through over the last 13 years, all the chaos, the corruption, illegal activities, incompetence, economic damage and 250,000 deaths from COVID, 36,327 people still thought it was okay to vote for them, says Tim. And Mary says, and this is a significant text because this is the last text that I've got from last night. I still haven't started on today's yet. Mary says, I think the public needs to be told what the difference is between a capitalist Tory party and a socialist Labour party. In short, Labour cares. The Tories couldn't care less, says Mary. I'm not sure the Labour Party is a socialist party. In fact, I know it isn't. 0345 6060 973. Red Hill, Nigel.
Good evening, Nick.
Nigel.
May I quote Sir Winston Churchill on the day before a different year?
No, you may not.
Why not?
All right, go on then.
I've got a brilliant idea. Right, all this biggest heist that you say in history.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's a long stretch, right? I mean, we did ask the Americans for help during World War II, so we put another star on their flag, run the whole country on trams, if you like, so there's no pollution. But we keep the gold bullion somewhere, got it? But all that money's converted into bullion, and the President of the United States has got the key. So, I mean, we know we don't want to be taken over by communists, do we? so I mean, Keir Starmer and the Pretty Wishy better put their heads together. So the Supreme Commander would be the President of the United States. Everyone's happy in this country. We just put another star on but the gold bullion's kept somewhere in case we need it.
Wow, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, but it certainly did take up a lot of time. I'm mystified, Nigel, and I'm begging you, please don't explain it any further. Good effort, though. Thanks for that, whatever that was. 0345 6060 973. I mean, let's have Redbridge, Razza.
Hi.
Yes, sir.
How are you? Can you hear me okay?
I can, go ahead.
I'm going to ask you a question. How are you? And it's very relevant for the discussion.
I am great, mate.
So normal courtesy would be that you'd ask me back, right?
Well, there's nothing courteous about this show.
So the answer is I feel absolutely terrible.
Right, I didn't ask. Very rude of you to impose upon me how you feel without me asking.
I thought you would ask at some point, but, so I thought I would answer just to preempt
disabuse you of that notion.
Well, I've got a couple of things I want to try and discuss with you, if it's okay.
But first, let me ask you this.
Go on.
How are you?
Absolutely awful, and there's a reason for that.
Awful?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you are full of awe? Is that what you mean?
Well, put it this way. I think that lightning is going to come through my window, hit my belly, and kill me because of climate change.
Thunder, lightning, very, very frightening.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A freak weather accident is going to happen because we are literally going off the charts in terms of climate change. So I'm looking at my BBC News app, and the headline article says, climate records tumble, leaving Earth in uncharted territory. So if you're worried about climate change and you wake up to see that headline, you think that you have reached that catastrophic day where it's completely out of control. So you scroll down into the article, and then it shows a graph of hottest June on record, and going back like 100 years.
Yes.
It's literally going up now in a parabolic straight line.
Yeah, up like a rocket taking off.
Exactly. So that tells me what my intuition tells me, which is that we are underestimating the speed of how quickly we're getting to the problem being towards the end, right? So that should make you really, really worried, right?
Well, I am concerned, but nobody else is, because what seems odd is that the more the climate is ringing a warning bell, the louder people are shouting to try to drown out that bell.
Well, the problem is that this is the next part of what I want to try and discuss with you. We should do no shouting at all, and it shouldn't even be an article on your news discussion, on your broadcast. The reason for that is I try to go and search on the internet for the point I'm going to try and make about next, which is that here in the UK, we have absolutely zero control over what's going to happen next, because the top contributors to emissions, which are causing the problem in terms of countries, are countries like China. Now, if you go and look at this website called World Odometer, hold on, let me find it.
It doesn't really matter. Is your argument that we shouldn't do anything because not everyone else is going to put that right? When we shouldn't do anything because everybody else will not go along with what we do?
Effectively, we are completely helpless as individuals, first of all.
That's completely untrue.
Well, what influence do you think UK has over China?
Well, part of the climate problem is the quality of our air,
which is something contaminated by carbon emissions, right?
Yeah, which is something over which we do have control.
Well, not really, because
of course
China is literally 1/3 of the global emissions.
Yes, but the air in London is cleaner now that we have the ULEZ charge, and a lot of those old polluting vehicles aren't driving around London anymore. Right. That is a direct result of our actions.
So if you go to this website I'm talking about, where do you think the UK is?
It doesn't make any difference, Raza. Is your position that we shouldn't do anything until the problem has been solved by other people?
Effectively, yes.
Okay, well, that is an asinine position to have, and as soon as you pull your head out of the sand, I want you to call me straight back. The amount of times that I've heard that is just absolutely painful. I'll put you in the direction of something amusing that can take your mind off this indefensible position of yours. It's a film called Don't Look Up. I think you'll like it. I won't spoil it for you, but essentially it's exactly that. No one should do anything unless somebody else comes along and fixes the problem for us. I mean, it's the same as the vote thing. Oh, why bother going out and voting? I mean, it's just one vote. What difference will that make? God. Everything that has ever improved in life on Earth that has anything to do with the human race was started by one person. If that one person had said, "Oh well, what's the point in bothering?" Because if I do something, then we need at least the rest of the 7 million people on Earth to do it as well. So I'll just forget it, put my feet up. It's just such a nonsense argument. It's an excuse not to do anything. It's pathetic is what it is. I can't bear it anymore. I really can't. The human race deserves everything it gets. It really does. We've had our chance and we blew it big time. This world is going to shrug us off eventually. And that time may be coming faster than you know. Wake up, sheeple.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Oh, hello.
And I can't stand him.
Martin texts, I'm in southern Florida right now, and it's hot and humid. Not normal hot and humid, but expletive-deleted hot and humid. He said, if you think Floridians would be concerned about global warming, no, they're having none of it. I was told by a local the other day that what scientists and experts failed to realise is that it's always been warm in Florida, so it's not a problem. Yeah, those people. Ahmed says, isn't it heartwarming news that our current government is on summer recess? I'm so glad hardworking people like Sir Rees-Mogg and 30p Lee can deservedly put their feet up now. What, now? Yeah, now they can put their feet up. As opposed to all that hard work that they've been doing on our behalf. Right. Glasgow. Hello, Craig.
Hello there, Nick.
Craig.
This sort of migration thing, do you know the thing that really annoys me about it? All the money that they're throwing at this, that they're throwing at the prison ships, because that's what they are, let's call them what they are, or their pipe dream Rwanda idea that they're throwing money at lawyers to fight in courtrooms and that will cost us about 170 grand if they get their way.
Unlimited amount.
Yeah, why aren't they just putting that money into getting more people into the Home Office to actually tackle the backlog that's causing the major issues in the first place?
For the very good reason for that is that they think it's beneficial for them to keep their fans angry at the at this sense that we are being invaded.
Well, that is true. That is exactly why they're doing it, and it's about a soundbite and a headline that will, cater to their section of the audience, as it were. But it just demonstrates even further to me why we need to get them out as soon as possible, because they don't care. They want us to have all these problems because they see it as something that can help them in the next election. Because if they dealt with a backlog, then the people who aren't entitled to asylum here would be, if it was safe to do so, sent back to their own, countries, which we'd all agree with, because not everybody will be entitled to asylum. And then the genuine asylum seekers who can stay here, we can then look at getting them
into work, into one of the million jobs that aren't being done in this country to the detriment of everyone who lives here. That's right.
Yeah. And this is the thing I don't understand as well. When I'm looking at the Rwanda thing, one thing that's always confused me, when they go over there, even if they're granted asylum here, they would still stay there. They wouldn't be allowed to come back here. So does that mean we'd have to pay for them to live in Rwanda and work there, basically, for the rest of their lives and contribute to that country, but not this country, even though we are paying for them? I mean, I think that is actually the case, but it just sounds utterly ridiculous.
Everything about it is utterly ridiculous unless you think of it in their terms. This is not a problem that they want solved any more than they want the rail dispute solved or the doctors and the nurses' problems solved or any of these things. It's a scab that they want to continue to pick at because they know that it brings their fans on side. A little bit of performative cruelty is just what the doctor ordered. And that's the way that they think they're going to win the next election. And that's not me making it up. They've actually said that out loud. Rishi Sunak has said, we want to divide and cause division between people in order to win the next election. Lee Anderson said the pretty much the exact same thing. We're going to be going on woke issues and trans issues. Now, is that the thing that is concerning most people in this country? No, it's the price of food. It's a job. It's keeping the roof over your head. All these, insignificant things. But that they can't win the next election on that because they have caused these problems. So they're just going to try to make their fans as angry as they can and determined to go out and vote. And that's all they've got. God, it's so depressing.
Yeah, it's very much. It's like Tommy Cooper back in the day when he would do his routines. You know, he would talk a lot of nonsense and bluster because he was trying to hide what he was actually doing. That's pretty much what the Tories do, except they're nowhere near as funny.
Yeah.
Because you look at things like Robert Jenrick telling, staff in a centre for kids to remove Mickey Mouse murals from the wall, as if that's the issues that people care about.
No, but it got people talking about just that for about a week straight. So it took the mind off the various failings of this government by throwing out a little bit of performative cruelty to foreigners, which made their fans giddy with delight, I bet.
Oh, I'm sure it did, but I would love to know how anybody could still be a fan of them, how anybody in their right mind can still actually vote. I would like to know how these various ministers can go on television and tell us that their top priority are people's safety while enacting policies that actually endanger the very people that they say they are concerned about keeping safe. I mean, to just look straight down the camera and lie over and over and over again, I don't know what kind of a person that is. I mean, perhaps we should make it into a contest. Put your answer on a postcard and send it to the following address: Psychopath Competition at LBC. Well, I mean, the fact is they need to bring in, I think, different rules in Parliament to deal with that as well, because for the life of me,
there are rules.
MPs are allowed to do it.
There
and how
are
is Nadine
rules.
Dorries allowed to say she was going to resign and then hold her constituency hostage by blackmailing the government to tell her why she didn't get a peerage? I mean, really?
I mean, that's the level we're dealing with. That she thinks she deserves to sit in the House of Lords for the rest of her life. It's just, I mean, what on earth has led her to that conclusion? It's just staggering. I mean, the sense of entitlement of these people is just off the scale. But that's what you get when you've been in power for 13 years. You just think that it is what you are born into, that it is what you deserve. Craig, I've got to go, but thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. Your safety is their number one priority.
It's the country's number one priority. It's my number one priority up and down the country, and that will be our focus.
OK, it is not the number one priority of the country to stop the boats. That's way down the list, even for their fans. It is certainly not his number one priority. So that's two falsehoods. But they just keep saying it over and over again, knowing that what they're saying isn't true. What kind of a person is that? Greg says, I know you like a stat. I heard a stat from a Canadian professor, Dr. Peter Carter, the other day. In the last 50 years, we have put as much energy into the oceans as 25 billion Hiroshima bombs. And at today's rate, it's the equivalent of 11 Hiroshima bombs per second. Blimey. That sounds alarming. Think of the poor seals. Becca says, have you seen the Mingin water that's flooding Italy? Looks like it's made its way there from the English water companies. Sharing is caring, I guess. There's all sorts of weather going on in Italy. They had a lightning storm there, which was, I can't remember where. Oh, it was in one of the lakes, Lake Garda, I think. And they were recording something like 3 lightning strikes per second. It was like it was like some sort of movie special effect. And then they had that tornado in Milan, which was absolutely incredible. And they had hailstones so big that it actually caused an ice flow to go through an Italian town. Did you see that? It was... And nature must be thinking, what do we have to do to wake these people up? Hello? Anybody paying attention? No, we're too obsessed about getting people with orange T-shirts out of the road because, that'll fix the problem. Bodmin, Malcolm.
Hello, Nick.
Malcolm.
Uxbridge and boat people.
the boat people, and it's hit home because if you play in your... right?
Malcolm, you're coming and going. You're fading in and out. Are you on speakerphone? He just hung himself. He just hung up. Tried to get us off speakerphone and hung up on himself. It's a dream come true. I'll try and get him back. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
LBC. Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Well, let's get back to it.
Yeah, and by it, I mean Malcolm in Cornwall. Yes, Malcolm.
Oh, Nick, is that better? Sorry, sir,
You've got yourself sorted out now. Go ahead.
It's headphones, and the weird thing is, I've rung in your glamorous assistant previously to tell him what the problem is.
Yeah.
But the trouble is, when the headphones in, you don't realise you got it. Yeah. So the boat people, so Rishi Sunak.
Yes.
Rishi Sunak, my number one priority is stopping the boats, but he's doing nothing to stop the boats. He is simply saying, when you arrive off at the boats, we're going to put you on a plane if we can.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing at all happening, Nick, to stop the boats, physically stop the boats, other than French policemen on the odd beach trying to intercept a dinghy. So
yes.
the whole thing is at the nonsense. And well, there it is in a nutshell. And it is simply listening to your piece, number one priority, and all this over and over, that you just think the guy he's doing nothing to achieve this number one priority.
I don't think that the intention is to solve the problem, because the problem is what will, they imagine, put them over the line at the next election. If the problem is solved, then what have they got? Oh, we solved this problem. No, we're trying to solve this problem, but lefty lawyers are usurping us at every turn. It's the whining victimhood that keeps the fans angry and on side.
Yeah, then Uxbridge, the lefty thing on the news this evening, in the news this evening. Apparently, the chief honcho in the local constituency party has quit his post, and the Labour Party in absolute fury because he thought Jeremy Corbyn was a very good man.
Well, you mean the chap that was standing for Labour?
No, the guy who runs the local party.
Oh, right.
So Labour will impose a candidate, and it seems now, reading between the lines, that the local party, Labour Party, weren't happy with the candidate imposed on them, it seems.
Right, this Danny Beales chap.
Yes, because apparently the guy who has left his post and the Labour Party was a big Jeremy Corbyn fan, and I think they wanted a Corbyn type.
Somebody who represented what you would traditionally think of as Labour values.
Yeah.
Being concerned for the little people, not leprechauns.
The little people,
not leprechauns.
But there's been no clarity this afternoon from the Labour Party to expand on Starmer saying that he wants the mayor to reflect on the ULEZ charge. So,
I don't understand why the Labour Party aren't pinning this policy on the Tories who came up with it. It was a Boris Johnson idea when he was mayor, and it was a Grant Shapps and the government in general's idea to insist on its implementation and expansion as a prerequisite for the government bailing out Transport for London after the COVID strike put our transport system in peril.
Do you know what I think they should do, Nick?
Yeah.
I think what Mayor Khan should do is he should say, OK, Labour voters and Tory voters, I'm going to give you what you want. And he should look at what it is the Tory people of Uxbridge want. It may be police. And take money from those areas and put it into scrappage. So give the people in Uxbridge who didn't want to vote because they got to buy a new car, give them money to buy a new car. And that's problem solved.
Yeah, the reason that there isn't a scrappage plan is because the central government, the Tories, wouldn't give him the money to do it. Yeah, right. So this is another one of these problems that they have organised. They've instituted a problem in order to say we are the ones that can solve this problem, but if they solve it, then they can't say that anymore. So they have to keep the problem going.
So the mayor has to box clever, doesn't he? He has to use his nous, and he's got to, whatever he can, whatever scope he has now, to siphon money from every area, every cause that the Tory side of the chamber at City Hall want, and spend that money on scrappage.
Right. Well, but that assumes that that's the only thing that people are interested in, but it isn't.
Well, it's. So what is it then, Nick? Why didn't Labour win that seat?
Labour didn't win that seat because we have first past the post. The Greens got double the number of votes that Labour would have needed in order to win that contest. And you would assume that the Greens are for the ULEZ charge. And if they voted Labour, and ULEZ was a part of the Labour policy, which was drummed home by the Tories in that area, then the people who voted Labour were for the ULEZ charge. So the Greens and the Labour put together would have beaten the Tories. It's because the left is split. It's a split vote, whereas if you want to vote right-wing, you've only got the one party.
Well, you can't blame Labour for that because Mayor Khan is implementing ULEZ, isn't he? He's doing the bid, so you've got to look at the Greens.
I mean, apart from anything else, it's a legal requirement to clean up the air in our cities. And so how else are you going to do it?
Well, you do it with ULEZ. And it should be the next. It should be a winning policy, for heaven's sake.
You would think so.
What is so twisted about Tory voters that they would rather... Well, they don't want to sort of stop anybody from dying. I
think it goes under the category of being concerned for the climate. And that goes under the category of being woke. Yeah. I think that is actually where we are. The human race, the stupidification of the human race, I think has topped. We can't really get more stupid than this. We are bringing forward our own demise because not to do so would be woke. I mean, we really are. We're a stupid species. No other species on Earth is actually bringing forth its own demise. They all live in equilibrium with their environment. We're the only species on Earth that doesn't. Just us. And we refuse to do anything in order to save ourselves because that would be woke. I mean, it's amazing that we've lived so long, isn't it? It's amazing that we're so successful. I mean, it's us and ants. And if you had to bet on who was still going to be there or be here in 100 years, my money's on the ants. Thanks a lot, Malcolm. 0345 6060 973. John says the single, simple, most potent and accurate word to describe the Tory party and their actions is traitorous. Why will no one say it? Too charged? We are beyond emotive description. We went into simple facts years ago. Well, I think that I can't believe that we moved past the Brexit thing. I don't mean it as a subject in general. I mean, people used money, their money, millionaires used uncounted amounts of their own money to, using dark methods, persuade this country to vote against its interests. There's no doubt that Brexit was against our interests. I mean, there's a poll out today that says 63% of Brits consider Brexit to have been more of a failure than a success. 57% say that the country was wrong to vote for Brexit. It's the highest figure that YouGov has recorded to date. A majority say that if the referendum were taking place now, they would vote Remain. 55% said they would vote Remain. Only 31% say they would vote leave. So overwhelmingly, we understand that Brexit was a huge mistake. What I can't understand is that we just shrugged our shoulders and moved on from millionaires or billionaires that don't even live here, used vast amounts of money and dark methods in order to pepper people with propaganda. And then, and up to that point, you think, oh, well, that's just politics. But the crucial part is that many of them were betting against the economy of this country while they were doing it. They were trying to make us do something that would be bad for the economy, and they were betting that it would be bad for the economy. And they made hundreds of millions of pounds. And this is not guesswork. We know this because many of them boasted about it. It's like selling you a boat that you have drilled a hole in the bottom of, telling the buyer that this is an excellent seaworthy vessel while taking an insurance policy out on that boat. What's not traitorous about that? I don't know how we moved on from that. It really is a genuine mystery to me. People should be in jail. But, of course, you don't go to jail for that kind of thing. You go to the House of Lords. Sean says, do you remember an old film called The £1 Million Note? You're right. You just have to wave it around and you never have to pay for anything. That's apropos of something we were talking about earlier on. I can't remember what it was now. Canada, Montreal. Hello, Mark.
Hey, good evening, good night to you, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Time difference. I just wanted to chime in on on a comment regarding pollution and climate change, not knowing any borders. And before I do, I just wanted to give a little kudos to you and your team. Love your show. It's actually it's become part of our weekends.
Oh.
With the time difference as we're cleaning up after the barbecue. I love your show. It's what, 7:25 here, 28 Celsius, sunny, etc. So you're part of our weekend.
28 Celsius and sunny. Yeah, thank you, Mark, but we don't wish to know that.
My apologies. And during the week, every once in a while, I do chime in around doing the washing up after dinner. And I'm amazed with LCD at how the quality of the types of topics that your call-in show does. I defy you. I know you've spent time in the United States, but I would defy you to look at, midnight, 1 a.m. in the United States, listening to talk and radio and find anything other than topics around how, Orange Man is the second coming or how Bigfoot is real. So kudos to civility. In fact, civilization is still real, thanks to what I hear from across the pond.
Look, very nice of you, Mark. Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, no, it's all very real. Look, I thought this might be interesting for your listeners. You might recall not that long ago, Manhattan was blanketed with a whole lot of Canadian smoke, and it looked like the end of the world, Mars and whatnot, midday. At the very same time that was happening, being here on the island of Montreal, we had blue skies, incredible, beautiful water from the St. Lawrence, and you would not have known there was an issue. And yet the smoke was all coming from this part of the world.
Right.
And that is because climate change and pollution know borders. And yes, we could get into issues around challenges with fighting fires in this part of the world. The province of Quebec being 5 times the size of France with a population of, 7 million people, mostly on this little island of Montreal, within an hour and a half of the U.S. border. But the rest of Canada, north of 90 minutes from the north of the border, is basically forest. And so, it's really tough to fight those fires. Having said that, those fires aren't impeding my air quality, but they are causing health problems to folks south of the border.
Yeah.
With whom we must be...
But you presumably are north of the fires, and the wind's going south.
Well, no, actually, the fires are incredibly north of us. But the way that things work in this part of the world is that the air currents would carry the fires west and south.
Around you. Right.
Around us, completely bypassing us, and then slamming into the U.S. East Coast or from further in Western Canada, given the prevailing weather patterns come from west to east. those forest fires in Western Canada are causing problems for air quality issues in Chicago.
Are those fires still burning?
Oh, there are 981 fires in Canada, of which over 400 are out of control.
God.
Most of which are in Western Canada, perhaps mostly in parts of the British Columbia interior. But these are places when they get close to a residential or a populated area, then we know about it. But there are parts of the north where we don't even know what happens because they're so remote. But the wider point is, much as we berated the Americans in the past when our forests were being decimated by acid rain from the Rust Belt spewing garbage into the atmosphere.
Right. Now you're giving it back.
Our fires are now doing that. So I understand the wisdom, quote unquote, of looking to, we're only contributing, X percentage, and the Chinese are contributing so much more to climate change. We've only got this one little orb that we're on. And, Canadians are massively guilty for having the most prolific wastage of water because we have so much. But at the same time, I don't have a water meter, for example. We don't think about, measuring things like water. You just spew it out because you have so much. But more importantly, we need to be mindful of these things because when it comes to pollution, climate change, impacts deforestation in one part of the world, they will impact other parts of the world.
Exactly. And every little counts. And just throwing your hands up in the air because other countries are polluting, so we might not as well bother doing anything at all, is a silly thing to say. I mean, I don't have the time for people like that. But anyway, thanks for that, Mark. I wouldn't go up into those woods. It's all grizzly bears and serial killers up there. All right, thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
What in places goes on inside that head of yours?
David texts, have you read Boris Johnson's column in the Daily Fail this week regarding the inconsequential Farage and Coots saga? No. No, I have not.
I'm a nutcase.
He says, oh my God, in the comments section, the Johnson sycophants and apologists are back in force. Scary stuff. Oh, you mean goofballs and dingalings? Those people. Oh, Farage and the blooming Coots thing, for crying out loud, this sense of victimhood.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
I mean, the man that was supposed to be the man of the people against the elites. Are we getting the picture yet? Mel says, I thought I was the only one who saw the first Christmas advert on Thursday just gone, advertising pre-dressed Christmas trees for 50% discount if you order in July. What? This is new to me. I mean, you would expect us to at least get to Halloween before they start advertising Christmas. I mean, come on. But now, it's as soon as Easter is gone. Mike says, in Australia, in 3 days' time, they celebrate Christmas in July, which happens every year around this time of year, it being their winter season. Yeah, I don't think that's right, Mike. I think you are disseminating misinformation. Liar! Unless somebody can back him up on that. I mean, they don't celebrate Christmas, but they might have a little barbie on the beach, or I guess it's winter down there. So, but even, I mean, how I'll probably depress myself just looking it up now. But they got it's the middle of winter down there, right? So let's have a look at what the weather is in Sydney, Australia, and you see, it's better than it is here. Oh, for crying out loud. We're the middle of summer here, and it's the middle of winter in Sydney, Australia, and it's better down there than it is here. But you know me, I never complain. 0345 6060 973. Here's another call in Canada, Vancouver this time. Hello, Nick.
Yeah, coming to you straight from the land of grizzly bears and serial killers.
Yes.
The wildfire capital of the world.
Be alarmed. Be very alarmed.
When you're walking in the woods and you see a bear, it is a genuinely scary prospect,
Well, I would
because you
think
realise
so,
that thing could just eat me, and it's quicker than me, and there's nothing I can do.
No, it'll bite your face off. You give it a chance.
Yes. But that wasn't what I was calling about.
Right.
I had this... I was thinking about the whole migrant boats thing and the doctor strike thing, and it occurred to me, for the 800,000 quid it costs to keep a migrant doing nothing on a boat, you could actually train 4 to 6 doctors or nurses completely. And then bearing in mind that 60 to 65% of all doctors voluntarily leave the UK with their qualifications to go get paid elsewhere, you would actually deport more migrants by training them as doctors and nurses than you will do keeping them on barges doing sweet FA.
By Jove, I think he's got it. There's a money-saving idea if I ever heard one. Excellent work, Nick.
Good luck.
All right, thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, keep that in mind when you see that prison boat. It's costing 800 grand for 2 years to keep one person on that boat. £800,000. It is 5 times as expensive as one of the world's most luxurious cruise ships. You can hire the whole boat, 5,000 people, all food, non-alcoholic drinks and entertainment included, and it would still be 5 times less expensive than that desultory prison ship that we have apparently bought for £1.6 billion, which the government is saying they have done in order to save us money. Yeah, they've saved us 50 quid a night on a hotel, and they're spending £1,100 a night on a prison boat per person, per night. And they're getting away with it. Unbelievable. 0345 6060 973. New Malden, Ahmed.
Oh, hello, Nick. With all the doom and gloom, doesn't matter where you look. Thank you for your show, which is a breath of fresh air, and I'm not sure if I can say the same for you, Les.
Right.
But,
yeah, that's the idea.
That's not what I phoned in for. I hear this crazy talk of Bank of England raising interest rate again.
Yeah.
That will only inflict more hardship on ordinary families and everything. And that is not the way to bring down inflation, because it's caused by profiteering.
Exactly.
For God's sake, all these energy companies and everybody else have gone on the bandwagon and raising their prices out of this, out of all recognition.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a Me Too movement. Businesses are looking at us poor dopes who pay taxes and seeing how much we're being fleeced by the energy companies and the fuel companies and the water companies and anything you can possibly think of. And they think, well, hell, if every other company can get away with that, why not us too?
Well, this is what's happening indeed. And also, whether it's Rishi Rich Sunak, whether it's him or Bank of England, they are just not fit for the purpose. Only few last year, they were all butt of every joke under the sun. And look at we are sort of treating them with some credibility.
If the bank increases the interest rates, the immediate effect is to put more money into the commercial banks' accounts. The higher interest rates just have the immediate result of making bankers richer for not doing anything.
But this monetary policy committee, which economic model are they following? They can look up on Google and it will tell them what they need. What is needed to bring down inflation is investment and growth.
Yes.
More people buy more stuff. There's more business activity. This way, it's tempting all the businesses, small businesses especially, medium businesses, big companies, they're just making huge profits. They're laughing all the way to their bank.
Everything that has been done to this country in the name of improving the economy has done the exact opposite of that. And it's not just done it in 1 year, it's done it for 13 years straight. Austerity causes the economy to become sclerotic.
Well, yes, this is what's happening. Because people, the small businesses, medium-sized businesses, they are not borrowing more money to expand their businesses, or they're losing staff and so on, because everything is costing more.
The way you grow an economy is by investing, which is one of the things that we are terrible at in this country, which is why we have a very bad level of productivity compared to our major competitors. Even the French, who take an hour off for lunch as a minimum and then drink wine during lunch, are more productive than we are, because businesses other than in this country invest in their business.
That's the way to growth.
But bosses in this country, they don't invest in the long-term interests of their business, like the water companies, for instance, is a perfect example. They just take all the profits and they award it to themselves for excellence in being them.
How much dividends have they paid out to their shareholders?
What, the water companies?
Water companies.
I think it's. I can't remember the exact. I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's all of it. All of it.
It's more than 160 billion. I think over the last. Since 20 years or since privatisation.
Since privatisation, it's. Yeah. I can't remember the precise number, but it's all of it. Yeah.
Also, why are we just selling? For God's sake, why are we selling all the family silver to anybody who wants to pay us a few more dollars? Why?
Well, for the short-term benefit of the people that facilitate that sale, which are the usual suspects who have, I'm quite certain of it, extensive connections with the regime, and who earn hundreds of millions of pounds in fees to make this kind of thing happen. Them and the banks and the accountants and the lawyers and the whole of that infrastructure that constitutes the City of London. There's a lot of people, no, not a lot, there's a relatively small number of people that make a massive amount of money in the short term, which is the only thing that they appear to be interested in. And to hell with the long term. The long term will take care of itself, because we'll keep people angry with the idea that they're being invaded. Or that there's somebody that's just put not a sex-free toilet. That doesn't sound right at all. A multi-sex toilet. What phrase am I looking at here? I bet you know.
Gender-neutral toilet.
Gender-neutral toilet is the right answer. Yeah, that's what they want to make you angry about. They're waving their hands in your face while they're picking your pocket. All right, thanks a lot, Ahmed. Gotta go. 0345 6060 973. They're waving their toilet in our faces while they pick our pocket.
Disgusting.
Can you believe that? 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Come on, we're running late.
0345 6060 973. Beverly says, just for your information, QVC and other sites are selling Christmas cakes and decorations already on their channels. They have been for a few days. I couldn't believe it, says Beverly. I can't believe it. Who wants to buy Christmas stuff now? Declan says, Nick, in Ireland, a Tory means a highwayman, a mercenary person who preys on the unsuspecting populace. Sound familiar? And Sarah says, I called you about 5 weeks ago telling you off for being too negative about Keir Starmer, but I have lost patience with him this week after the refusal to reverse the two-child benefit cap and now the ULEZ U-turn. So I wanted to apologise for dramatically suggesting that you might find yourself on the wrong side of history, says Sarah. She's very, very apologetic.
I am very sorry that I screwed up. I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I'm sorry.
And about that two-child policy, by the way, you know MPs get benefits for not two, but three children. I think it's £5,500 a year on top of their ability to charge us poor dopes who pay taxes the rent on their second home. 3 children they get on benefits, while insisting that us get 2. Absolutely none of the rules apply to them. 0 amount of rules. It's just amazing that we're putting up with it. I just... What is going on? I think I'm just going to stop paying attention because I just don't think I can stand it anymore. But you know me, I never complain.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Southampton, hello, Will.
Hello there, Nick.
Hello
it's jolly
there.
Nice to speak to you.
Yes.
Jolly nice. I heard the most ludicrous pronouncement after the by-elections down there in southwest England on my television. I mean, I don't know what they're putting in the pastry down there, but this ludicrous announcement by this woman said, look, I'm glad now that we've got a representative as an MP in Westminster, but you see, we're very good at winning and running local government. You see, well, if that's all they want, local government, I'm not interested. If you'll never, ever be a national party in this country, so I've never understood why people vote Liberal Democrat, because they do not win government in this country. It's just a cop-out, Nick.
Well, I mean, are you suggesting that we should only be able to vote for one of 2 parties?
Well, when the late David Amos said to me, I met him as I was coming back from London, he was returning to London, railway station, and he said to me, I like your politics, but they're never going to win an election. And I said, yeah, but, you know, having principles, maybe, but he said to me, they're not going to win an election. I said, yeah, but what they do is they give you a conscience.
Right, but you seem to be arguing with yourself now, so you do want different parties to vote for.
Well, this woman then went on to say, Nick, she was asked, how did you vote? I voted Green. Well, how are you going to vote in the general election? Oh, I'm going to vote Tory again. What's the point?
That's a bit of a switch. She voted Green at the local election, and
yes,
she's
she did. I'm not telling you lie.
Right.
She said I voted Green, but I wanted the Liberal Democrats to get in, you know. But because these people who vote Liberal Democrat have never been a social. As Tony Benn once said, the Labour, as you said earlier tonight, the Labour Party is not a socialist party. It contains socialists, but it's not a socialist party. And
no.
I don't know where we're going. I don't know where we're going. You know, I can conduct to you, Nick, that the Labour Party will get 32% of the next general election, and the Tory party will win with 47%.
The Tory party will win with 47%, which is about what they did last time.
Yeah,
last time around.
Yeah. I hate the Tory party, but I can see them winning.
Well, that's what they do.
Slightly different.
They have the tendency to win. When it matters, they can get their ducks in order and win. Yeah.
Hey, Nick.
What?
Do you know, you're very, very good on music. Have you heard of the greatest band in the world, The War on Drugs? Are they brilliant or what? I'm living a 70s dream again.
I've heard of them, but I've no idea what their canon is
oh, man
like.
alive. The stupid BBC goes and puts on Elton John on BBC 4. They got the World War on Drugs on, but I had to. I mean, what's going on? I mean, this band is just the most sublime. They use all analog instruments, mellotrons.
If they use mellotrons, then I'm afraid I'm out. I draw the line at mellotrons. But thanks for the good advice there, Will. If I had been at Glastonbury and Elton John was on, which he was, of course, this time around, if I had been there, I would have set my video at home to tape Elton John, and I would have instead gone to see Queens of the Stone Age. Queens of the Stone Age.
Rock and roll!
I think that would have been a better time than standing in a field that can only take 1 million people with 10 million people squeezed into it. And Elton John way off into the distance. No, I'd rather have been up the front at anybody else. Anyway, thanks for that. I've forgotten what his name is now. He's gone. He was blowing my hair back with the volume from that phone call. Texts and emails and such. Rory says, have you ever thought about changing the A to Z of the year to the A to Z of the month, given that we don't have much time, what with the planet imploding and all? Oh, it'll be fine. I read it on Facebook. Rose texts, I agree with Mark about fishy. Who's Mark? My view is that people whose priority is to make as many millions as they can are those who will never feel right and are compelled to acquire more and more symbols of prestige, for example, a knighthood, in a vain attempt to build self-esteem. Simon says, still not heard much from good old wheezing Coffin in a while. Do you think she's too busy saving the environment? Therese Coffey. Yeah, I think she's busy trying to scrub the stains out of her T-shirt. Joe says, some say the Queen and now the King have wealth that is not touchable because it's personal wealth. So how did she get that then? Did she do a paper round? Says Joe. How much time have I got? So many texts and emails and such. Jessica says, Labour voters considering not voting Labour are being a bit foolish in my opinion. Tories would never turn their back on their party even when they don't agree with them. Loads of them dislike Johnson and Brexit and they still voted for him. Labour voters, still angry about the Iraq war and the situation in Palestine, effectively flushed their own country down the toilet. Oh, that's a little bit too graphic there, Jessica.
Disgusting.
But that's a good point. Which is exactly what I meant by, when it comes down to it, the Tories will get their ducks in order. All in a little line. Anything that is necessary to win. Whereas the Labour Party, their speciality is just fighting amongst themselves and forming a circular firing squad, taking themselves out in a fight about who's the most pure. I've heard it so many times. Oh, I can't vote for Labour under Keir Starmer. Well, so what's the alternative if you are not a Tory? AJ says, if this water from the ground displacement is causing a bit of a tilt now, we're going to be, stuffed is not quite the word he used, but I'll insert that. We're going to be well stuffed when the permafrost melts, though there will be people who deny that we're upside down, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, it is actually, we're all in great danger because apparently we've slipped 1.7 inches off perpendicular. I have no idea if that's the right phrase. 1.7 inches off perpendicular. Can you believe that?
Yes.
And at any moment now, this entire world could go into a spin. We could all be flung off into space. Can you believe that? Everybody should be gripping tightly.
I'm gripping it.
He's gripping it. Harold says, Mercer said a young MP doesn't know how to raise a family, so only people who are married with kids should be MPs. What about MPs who actually know about carers who sacrifice their chance of marriage, or gay couples who can't have kids, says Harold. Greg says, I went on a barging holiday once. I didn't go on a boat. I just... So I did not see that coming. Greg says, I went on a barging holiday once. I didn't go on a boat. I just spent the whole time pushing... Have you heard? Greg says, I went on a barging holiday once. I didn't go on a boat. I just spent the whole time pushing people into canals. Good one, Greg. Ordinarily, I don't like listeners with material, but I'm going to make an exception in your case. And that concludes our business today. 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 Business